You're watching Let's Chat.
Whenever possible, we enjoy spending a few minutes with our attorney friend Gary Massey from Massey and Associates. And today, Gary, first of all, good morning.
Good morning.
Kind of an unusual case that could affect you, your family, or someone you know.
Absolutely.
And it concerns one thing that just downright, I'm going to use the word ticks. Ticks most of us off, and it is elder abuse of perhaps the worst kind. This is a pretty serious deal. Company's name is Epsilon Data Management Company. And essentially what they have done is has gotten a whole lot of data on our grandparents, on our aunts, on our uncles, sold it to a company that they knew was dirty and were going to do bad things with it. Fill us in on this case a little bit.
Well, it's really a disturbing case, Chip, and thankfully Epsilon is having to pay some sort of justice. But basically what they were doing is they are a gigantic data company that contracts with huge companies like Citibank and Chase and I think McDonald's and places like that to help them manage their contact list, help them do their emails and help them with their marketing and keeping up with their consumer data information. But then they take that information that they gather from one company and they sell it to other companies who want to market. And so they sell it, you want people of this age living in this place, of this political persuasion or this race or whatever like that. And then they sell it to other companies. But then they started selling it to a company who's sending fraudulent mailers, telling people they've won a sweepstakes when there was no sweepstakes, telling people that we have a psychic reading that's especially for you, when they're sending the same thing to hundreds of thousands of people, and it's fraudulent.
In your mind, what was the tipping point where they knew what they were doing was wrong?
Well, the people they were selling the information to had been charged with fraud. The people had been caught up in a government sting and were charged with fraud. Epsilon knew they were charged with fraud, specifically defrauding seniors, and Epsilon continued to do business with them, did business with them for more than 12 years, and continued selling them more information of more people to cheat out of more money.
So what happens in a case like that? And I read an overview of the article where Epsilon Data is going to have to pay north of $150 million. Serious money. Where does that money go to?
Well, there is a procedure set up so that almost all that money, 127 million of the 150 million, goes to the people who were defrauded by these companies. And so you can go to justice.gov and you search for the Epsilon order, and it tells you where you can go and fill out a claim if you were the victim of one of these frauds. And so then there's a whole system set up with a referee who decides who gets what money. It's a very difficult thing, and it kind of bothers me, Chip, that if this were an individual, then somebody would go to jail, and $150 million is a lot of money, but it's not enough money to put this company out of business. Like going to jail for a year would put you or me in the poorhouse.
That was going to be my next question. Are they going to be barred from doing business in the future after the fines are paid and the judges sign off on it?
No, they're still in business and still a gigantic company gathering gigantic amounts of data.
How and why? Do they just change names, reincorporate, and go back to doing the same crap all over again?
No, they negotiated an agreement with the government in lieu of prosecution where they pay $150 million. They have to put data protection things in place. They have to show the government that they're not going to do this anymore, but then they're still the same business and still going forward making the same money they were before.
And believe it or not, folks, on a bigger scale and in some cases on a much smaller scale, that sort of thing happens right here in Chattanooga. Could be happening right in your neighborhood. If you have a loved one, especially an elderly relative that you suspect is getting scammed, go to the authorities. Contact Gary at Massey and Associates. Get them help, because a lot of times that can wipe out their entire life savings. Gary Massey, we're up against the clock, but thank you so much.
My pleasure.
Hope you'll join us next week, and we hope you will join us tomorrow. It's going to be a musical Thursday here on Let's Chat. Local singer, songwriter, entertainer Roger Allen Wade, tomorrow at 10.